Salmon Rushdie. Good morning. Welcome to SJU. We have Dan Merle with us today, Spencer Gilbert, and Joe Starr. We're going to dive into our stories. We have some interesting ones for you today. But first, we actually just got some very sad news. Penny Marshall has passed away in her home, reportedly, of complications due to diabetes at the age of 75. And if you guys don't know Penny Marshall, I assure you, you do. She was an actress and director. As an actress, I don't want to say best known, but first known for Laverne and Shirley. And then as a director, perhaps best known for Big and A League of Their Own. But she was such a force in this industry, such a talent, really created these landmark films and roles. I just can't say enough about Penny Marshall, and I think what she really has meant to entertainment, to movies, to Hollywood. And this is a big loss and very sad.
She herself was never really given the kind of recognition that the stars of her movies were. If you look back at her filmography, which isn't long, but it's very meaningful, Jumpin' Jack Flash is the first sort of comedic vehicle. She'd already done Color Purple for Whoopi Goldberg, but certainly gave birth to Whoopi Goldberg, the screen comedian. Big launched Tom Hanks as he wasn't just the guy from the guy in the dress from TV from Bosom Buddies. He got an Oscar nomination for that movie. That sort of launched him into his career. And then A League of Their Own. The cast of that movie. There's no crying in baseball.
I mean, that's
that was
one of the
big,
most iconic lines in cinema.
Yeah. So I wish that she herself had gotten more credit, because the films that she made launched so many careers and so much of the pop culture at the time that I feel like a lot of people didn't even associate her with those moments, but she, those were her films. She made those films, and she's just as responsible for them as anyone else.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite Penny Marshall movie or performance, Spencer?
I mean, it's got to be A League of Their Own. Like that. That's probably
that actually does surprise me. I would have thought Big.
No, Big's weird. Not her fault, but the script. There's some someone sleeps with him in Big that I always found strange on rewatching. So League of Their Own. It's my second favorite sports movie behind Rudy, and she'll be missed. Great talent.
Joe Starr.
Yeah, League's an incredible. You mentioned, it's a short filmography, but yeah, that's a hell of a filmography. I'd be happy to be best known for Big and League of Their Own. It's a major Hollywood family that I think it's maybe a lesser known, which is sort of a crime. Gary Marshall created Happy Days. He was a really successful comedy writer. That was her brother. She was an incredible director and an incredible talent. That's a family, especially Penny, that people should know more about and look into today.
Yeah. If anything, hopefully this does inspire you guys to look into that and explore her career a little bit more, because she certainly was a force and will be missed. And I think when these things happen, especially when it feels like the person, we've talked about this a few times, has led a very full life, I think there's a lot to be celebrated about that, and she certainly did.
And one of the most, if you look at the box office numbers, one of the most successful female directors of all time, which again, I feel like there are a lot of other directors like Nora Ephron and Mimi Leader who get mentioned, and because I think she was so, maybe because she worked in comedy, maybe because she didn't have, like a signature style, that it was very much personality based. It was based around the stars. Even a movie like Awakenings, that was Williams and De Niro, they were the stars of the show. I even think people don't realize that, in the realm of directing, she's one of the most successful female directors that ever worked.
Yeah, I think probably a lot of people don't know that she directed Big, and think of Big as and associate only Tom Hanks. Okay, so that's very sad, and I hope you guys will go and explore more about Penny Marshall today. Now on, no good way to transition into our Bambi in jail story. So we'll just dive right in. Here we go. A judge has sentenced a man to watch Bambi in jail. This is a real thing, ladies and gentlemen. This is via Yahoo News and Billy, who finds the best things for us. The Missouri judge has found a way to punish a poacher. A man was convicted of participating with a group that poached hundreds of deer, and basically they took the heads as prizes, and they left the bodies. And so the judge sentenced him to a year in jail, during which he is forced to watch Bambi at least once a month. And we're not I'm not laughing about the deer because that's really sad and upsetting. Like, this is just, I've never heard of this. This is on December 23rd. Starting on December 23rd, he has to start watching Bambi once a month. So I don't know if you guys ever seen A Clockwork Orange.
Sure.
I presume.
Yeah.
So there's a theory in that film that you can force people to watch things and it will alter their behavior, right? This seems to be gently applied here. Like, I think when I first heard it, I assumed he had to watch Bambi 3 times a day. So I have a number of questions, and here they go. One, is this legal? Like, is this a thing that the judges can do? Apparently, because it was done. And 2, what's the actual number of times that he should watch Bambi before it sinks in and the lesson is learned?
It might fill him with rage, because this is like responsible for his incarceration. It's a reminder.
Okay.
This definitely, look. Cruel and unusual is the phrase. This definitely tips. I'm not sure if it's cruel. It's definitely unusual.
Yeah.
This is definitely an unusual punishment. So I feel like he's got a case on appeal.
Okay.
I think
But is he going to appeal to stop watching Bambi, Joe?
I don't see what really would have done it for me is, in addition to, I think everything about this sentence should have been deer themed. In addition to Bambi, I think he should be wearing like deer feety pajamas with the hoodie with like the little like that should be what he wears instead of oranges.
That's a death sentence in prison.
Yeah.
He's gonna learn.
Okay.
He's got to put himself in that deer's hooves, Spencer.
Yeah.
To have a bunch of hungry poachers chasing him every day.
I didn't know that judges had this kind of power
I
to
don't
interpret.
know that they do.
No disrespect, but I feel like I hear about it more so in the South, where it's like, so we put this guy in the stocks, or like, this guy had to like ring a bell outside a Kmart where he shoplifted from to say I'm a moron.
We're creative, man.
Yeah, like there's like a weird torturer's apprenticeship that judges must take in some of these places where they like think of the most fitting, like Saw-like punishment.
But are you actually
the Honorable Judge Robert George has concluded?
At the end of the day, obviously the guy has a thing for deer. Bambi is a great movie. One gets killed in the very beginning. Spoiler alerts. Are you actually rewarding
rooting for
him?
it?
I think this is to embarrass him, if I'm being honest. Like, under what other circumstances would we in California be sitting at a table talking about David Barry Jr., poacher of deer, except the judge is like, I'm going to shame you and embarrass you, which technically could be construed as cruel and unusual punishment. It's a Southern thing. Like, there are judges in the South that are just like, well, not only do I sentence you to jail, you, sir, are going to pick up trash in a yellow tutu to pay for your crimes.
You thought you could just get away with killing all these deer? Well, that dog just don't hunt, son.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know what judges have a scary amount of power. I think
Dan is absolutely right. I was just reading about some of the a lot of legal pundits think that this is intended to shame, and they cited some examples like in 2003, a judge in Kentucky gave a father a choice between spending 30 nights in jail or sleeping in a doghouse. And then another...
What did he done?
Are you still going to sleep in that doghouse?
What did he done?
I'm not sure. It doesn't say. And then another one was a judge in Georgia instructed a man that he must buy a casket and keep it in his home as a constant reminder of the consequences of drug addiction. Wow. I don't know how you enforce
these are all frustrated serial killers that became judges or like prop comics.
No, it's that I caught you smoking a cigarette.
Exactly.
You're going to smoke the whole pack mentality.
Yeah. It's that old school like kind of like immersion therapy, immersion punishment, which is not unlike A Clockwork Orange. However, if you really are going to do that, you should make him be hunted. Right?
Yeah, you should be 100%.
The most dangerous
that's
game.
Definitely cruel and unusual punishment.
I mean, but that's interesting, because that would definitely get him in the mindset of a deer being hunted.
Is he also having to watch it? Yeah, and he's wearing that fursuit. You guys come along with me.
Yeah.
Non-lethal, just tag.
Oh no, I'm
tag and release.
That. You just didn't take it far enough.
I think, is he watching this like out
in the yard?
In the yard, while everybody around him's lifting weights and doing push-ups, and he's just at a chair watching Thumper getting Twitter pated.
And then he's slowly removing one tear because really it's Thumper that gets him.
Yep.
And unfortunately, he just was a funny poacher.
It's that Southern mentality of like, the preacher that starts like shaming the ladies whose skirts are just a little too short this Sunday in God's house, and like makes them like stand up or something like that. Like there's a big that's a thing. Yeah, there's a big like walk of shame mentality in the South.
There's psychological warfare, I think, embedded in
Yep.
There is that, and I'm saying that I can say this. I have a Southern mom. And I can tell you for sure, psychological warfare. No,
some of my best friends are traitors to this country from the 1800s.
I don't know where you're from, but Lord, don't stand here.
Psychological warfare is a bastion of Southern parenting. That said, they did not your mom, but mine for sure. That said, I just think we're not taking it far enough. I think he has to dress. I think he has to dress as that deer. I think he has to live as that deer for about a month.
Are you saying like he's actually going to wear the taxidermied head of one of the deer that he shot,
and then live as a deer?
This went full American Horror Story.
And then surprise, you get hunted, but you don't know when.
It's like Black Mirror.
You're literally advocating for the Hunger Games right now.
You would be,
but like that's one step away from the Hunger Games. It is.
Isn't there a Seagal?
You would totally live inside Panem. I like that. And have the makeup and
Roth
everything.
turned him into Manby.
We just gotta go Human Centipede on this thing. If we're gonna do it, let's do it. I mean, this is all I'm saying. If you're gonna do it, commit.
I like that every time you say, "Hey, if we're gonna do this," it gets worse. Like you went from he has to be hunted to
just he had to wear a deer.
Two deer in a centipede situation.
Rough.
Roth's just progressively getting angrier.
I'm sorry, Roth. I will never vote for you for judge. You've killed your career as a
you're
county
drunk
judge.
on power and homeopathic beverage.
Let me.
The kombucha makes her vengeful.
Power and snake oil.
All right, first of all, today is just coffee. Second of all, but I did have some like tinctures earlier. That said,
poor Bambi.
It's not the Hunger Games because the people that were competing in the Hunger Games, it was to control society, and it wasn't done as a punishment, and they hadn't done anything wrong, and they were innocent,
it was an honor.
And they were
right.
children.
I'm sorry.
So it's not quite the Hunger Games. It is a little bit like Saw. I will own that.
I was wrong to say that you advocating for a misdemeanor criminal to be dressed as an animal and hunted for sport was like the
absolutely needs to be a
unfair
horror though. And the trailer is like a slowed down and just like a creepy child being like, "Doe, a deer, a female." While this guy's just in the woods dressed as a deer.
I swear there was an 80s movie. It was like Wesley Snipes or Seagal or something where they were like hunted by billionaires for sport.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
There is. That may have played into my idea. That's true. There is one. But here's the thing: he was really cruelty to animals, right?
Yeah, it seems like this was more of like you were cruel to animals outside of the appropriate window, and you didn't clean up after yourself.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think cruelty's pretty low on the list.
Well, in any event, I think that watching Bambi once a month is a reward, not a punishment. And you, sir, should be hunted. Okay. I wish I had the bong bong.
Bong bong.
There you go. Law and Order. Paramount's trolling Sonic complainers. Do you guys know about this? So this is via
Jay Leno over here.
You guys know about this? See this? I read the paper. Did you guys see this? It's Sonic's headliner.
It's Paramount's
people are pretty upset about that Sonic. Don't like his legs. Very, very upset. A lot of hubbub online. And Paramount was like, suck it, by releasing a tweet of Sonic saying, can't a guy work out, be back next year, and then underneath the sign you can see blue legs of the character.
Big. Yeah.
Those are crazy.
I think they're exaggerated a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, those are exaggerated legs.
What's your take, on the hubbub around?
I think it's good. Look, weirdly, Sonic of all things is one of those fan communities that like gets crazy.
Uh-oh.
So I think Paramount's best defense is to just lean into it as hard as they can because Sonic fandom can get a little nuts. They really love their hedgehog. Some of them like really love their hedgehog.
Really?
Yeah. So yeah, I think the best thing that Paramount can do is just like lean into it until they've convinced people that it's fine.
Okay. What do you think? First of all, I want to explore what you were mentioning earlier about really loving that.
You don't, trust me.
You don't.
Billy, weigh in, do I? All right.
Yeah.
But what about this as kind of a marketing technique in general in terms of the studios becoming the trolls? Or like, it almost feels like us where we're trying to get ahead of the complaint that we know is inevitably going to come. A little bit, but there was one campaign for Gossip Girl where they did something similar. They took every negative review and pulled out quotes and then turned it into a positive, you know, like a steaming pile of crap. It wasn't that, but it was like fun to watch, which I thought was really fun at the time. But what do you think of this as a general rule?
I mean, they can't ignore that people were upset that their blue hedgehog's legs were slightly different than they'd imagined them. That's just fact.
Yeah.
That's life, man. That's life in the fast lane.
That's all you can do, really, is just lean into it. I feel like of all of the disproportionate social media outcries, the Sonic's legs don't look right is far louder than the actual public sentiment of people that would go see this movie and judge Sonic by his legs. So I'm guessing that they're just like, okay, let's just have fun with it.
I don't know. I don't think people care about this movie unless you're a Sonic the Hedgehog fan, because it's a video game movie. It's for a, let's say, spotty franchise record throughout time. Like, if people have some leftover nostalgia, it's probably from the 90s or from the cartoon that happened after that. One of many cartoons. There was one good one. But just get the look right. Like, people like the character, it hasn't really changed. It's like Bugs Bunny or like
You were upset about the last.
I wasn't upset. It's just odd. It's just odd.
Okay.
It's like you look at any animated character, like, they don't age. They look pretty consistent from iteration to iteration. It's just for your first thing to be like, we changed how your cartoon looks. It's just like, why? Why? It doesn't. We weren't wondering if he had the quad strength and to run that fast.
It's like if in Detective Pikachu they just made him look like a weird Jabberwocky thing.
Yeah, if they gave Pikachu abs in Detective Pikachu, like,
and also he was like 6'4", and they were like, but what would he look like in real life?
Yeah.
And he just looked like a weird honey badger.
Yeah, it's fine if he's in the real world, like with Pikachu, but like, you want the cartoon that you like to be in the real world, not like a real world kind of horrific version of the cartoon.
That said, I think just in terms of purely the marketing, counter memeing until Sonic's goofy legs becomes the collective accepted meme up until day of release, I think is brilliant, because I think they're just gonna trick people into being like, this is fine. I think that this is the only way to do it.
Yeah, I think they got caught unawares with the response to that. This is like, I meant to fall and spill ice cream on myself. Like, that, aren't ice cream covered shirts cool?
This is Paramount's Covfefe.
Yeah, they're like, ha ha.
They did the same thing with the turtles, by the way, which was the first reveal of the turtles was people going like, oh my god, they're horrific. Which, to be fair, they were.
They were.
The turtles were way worse than this. These are weird-looking legs. The turtles were like Shrek man beasts with why do they have noses and get them away quickly.
Oh, the Bay Turtles?
The first iteration of the Bay Turtles was way worse than this.
So they have time to adjust, and they probably will.
Well, do they? These movies take a while to lock and rent these animated movies.
Well, we'll see.
I guess we will.
Yeah. We will see when Sonic comes out. Well, you will anyway. I don't have a huge I'll be honest. So I don't have a huge attachment to Sonic, so I guess maybe I can understand that. I can relate on the playing field of Gem and how upsetting that movie was to me. Synergy doesn't even operate that way.
Can I just say, fans of comic books, video games, have just gotten so accustomed to having things their way. Like, when I was a child, I had to accept that Mario and Luigi were Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo. You can deal with Sonic's legs, okay? Because we dealt with way worse. We had to believe that King Koopa was Dennis Hopper. That's what we had to deal with.
It's a good cast.
It's a silhouette. You've seen a silhouette, like, no! Like, just give it a second. Give it a minute.
It's an unforced error. Like, no one made them buff out Sonic. No one made them do that. Like you had a very clear choice of make it look like the character or put him on, protein shakes.
You don't even know what it looks like. Maybe that's like his end form. Maybe he looks like Sonic for like 90 minutes of the movie, and then for 5 minutes he's like takes some go-go juice. I don't know.
Well, the studio apparently,
his final form.
Yes, his final
Billy, am I
form.
right on this? The studio was like, he's in the real world or we don't make a movie.
So I've heard. I've heard that the human component was very much forced upon it.
But now that's a mistake.
So is it like a Sonic v Pikachu showdown coming up next year?
Yeah.
Is that what's happening?
It's looking like it to me.
Video game icons in the real
But
world.
also, I've never quite
Pikachu.
seen this amount of outrage for something that we have not seen any moving footage of.
One
Like,
silhouette.
literally nothing.
All right, so I'm
But
going to make
what
a
can you do?
wild, baseless assertion that Pikachu wins.
So far, so yeah, seems
So
that
far,
way.
so Pikachu.
Yeah.
All right. Onward. The Carlton. Speaking of 90s nostalgia.
And video game news.
And lawsuits. And is this legal? Carlton, if you guys remember, Alfonso Ribeiro from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is suing Fortnite over the Carlton dance that is used in Fortnite Battle Royale. There's the Carlton dance. Oh.
Sure.
It certainly
similar.
does look like the Carlton.
Oh, that's definitely the Carlton
that's
dance.
I mean,
Carlton.
there's some different differentiations, but I actually was doing some reading.
Wait.
Can you trademark?
Dangerous.
Yeah, because the big question we have is, can you trademark like the Elaine in that case too from
So-
Seinfeld?
Or like Napoleon Dynamite's finale.
Yes and no is what I'm coming up with, which is no, you can't. Like, if I move my arms crazy, I can't trademark that move.
Billy.
Right, I can't trademark,
The
but I
business.
can trademark the Billy in association with that movement. So had Fortnite called it the Carlton dance, I think maybe there would be a little bit more of a case against it, but it might be tough because they don't call it that. And as you saw, there are a couple different moves, and you can't trademark this.
But they call it fresh. Right?
Ooh,
they do.
is that what they call it?
Yeah, it's
I didn't know that.
sold. It's sold under the name Fresh, which is obviously.
Yeah, but again, that's like when you go to like a stock music library and you're looking for "Hit Me Baby One More Time" and they have "Hit Me Baby Twice." Like that's
Yeah.
totally legal, and you
That's
can do
not
it.
totally legal,
It is
Billy.
totally. I have
It is.
used.
Oh, naming it that,
I
yes.
have used "Hit Me Baby Twice" in a thing as a Britney Spears knockoff. It is legal.
It's like when we slightly changed the key to a Mary Poppins song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of
or
like
just
that.
don't.
Or just don't and then run it anyway. Law.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the. I have no idea what the.
Danielle should be here.
Well, we're missing our lawyer Danielle today, our legal counsel. That said, is that if the Carlton was made for the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, would the performer own it? Like if we, for example, if we create anything that goes on our air at this point, we don't own that.
Right. Was there a choreographer that told Alfonso Ribeiro how to dance like that? Or
Yeah.
the
But
director or
then-
something?
Yeah.
In that case, can the choreographer of the Charleston be like, hey, you stole most of the Charleston and just made a guy in a funny sweater do it and said it was different?
Yeah.
Are we doing Danceception?
I
Yes.
think so.
Okay.
I think we are.
Can History of Dance get sued now? Evolution of Dance?
Yes.
Evolution of Dance.
This reminds me of that Jet Li story where he didn't want to be in the Matrix because he was afraid they were going to own all of his bodily movements in digital form.
Oh, did he have to sign off on that? Is that what was
No,
that?
it's-
part
That was
of-
just his assumption. Is like they would track his movements and they would have this library of like every martial arts move he could do.
Yeah.
And he couldn't. That would be theirs then to do as they pleased with. So I don't know. It's obviously like there's got to be a big gray area because you don't want to open up the door to trademarking any movement of the human body. It's like, hey, you did the elbow shake. You owe me $1. Like,
But wasn't there? And tell me if this is just a rumor or did this actually happen when what's her name? Pop star, the biggest pop star in the world.
Madonna.
we're
At
old.
one time.
Oh, yeah, no.
Ariana Grande.
Good. Hates Katy Perry.
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
Oh.
So when she had that song where she whatever it was and it was this sick beat was like something she said in the song and then she tried to trademark or copyright this sick beat.
Sure.
You can't. That's not.
No.
That's a common vernacular thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think this is a thing where the great Alfonso Ribeiro, not just Carlton, but current host of America's Funniest Home Videos, carrying the torch from Saget.
From Tom Bergeron.
Oh, yeah.
And from Tom Bergeron, excuse me.
Put Tom Bergeron's name in your mouth.
Yeah. But I think that he has seen that Fortnite makes $1 bazillion a day and thought, well, maybe I can get, they'll cut me a check to go away.
Yeah. Well, maybe they will cut him a check to go away, but I sort of doubt it because it's going to open up way too many doors.
Oh.
No, the settlement to not take it
any further.
Sure.
This has already happened.
What?
To them.
Who?
Just reading a little more into the story.
Oh, yeah, to
with
Fort.
$2
Yeah,
million.
they've been sued before. Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like any game with a created character has very winking signature dances and moves and stuff. And this doesn't seem to ever be a problem.
I want to say I played Tiger Woods golf way back when, and you could have customizable celebrations. And I want to say, and maybe I'm crazy, that the Carlton dance was one of them. I think maybe it was.
Yeah.
I don't know what they called it, but
you could change I know you could change the taunts in your wrestling game so that the Ultimate Warrior would do the Macarena.
Yeah.
You know,
Why do you want to change your taints?
Nope.
Sometimes you gotta change your taint.
Billy, show us the Carlton, the Billy Carlton.
JT has.
What? Billy's gonna get sued.
You owe him $400.
Yeah.
Billy's getting sued.
That's incredible.
So going back to what you said, I've becoming a little bit of a legal expert here this morning.
Video game dance law expert, Billy Business.
Yes.
So the Taylor Swift, you can't just trademark it. You kind of can. There's three, basically you could trademark whatever you want, but there's three major criteria. One, it cannot be a generic term. The example given is you can't trademark salt to put in a salt shaker. Second, you can't have it be entirely descriptive. So again, they say you can't use salty for your crackers. You couldn't trademark that. The last is it can't have a connection with the good or a service that it's already affixed to. So could she trademark, what was it? Slam my beat or whatever. She can at least, she has a good shot.
It was Shake It Off is the song, which is very catchy, frankly.
She had a very, very good shot. Of course, that all then comes down to the courts and subjected to the judges and all that stuff.
I also might be.
If she had Judge Robert George of Lawrence County, then maybe she'd be watching Bambi once a month.
Maybe this unlicensed dancing goes around in Los Angeles.
What are the...
You're going to do the Carlton in Town Square for 24 hours, son.
Do we just have to watch Fresh Prince on repeat?
I don't know.
How does Fortnite get punished?
Money.
Cash. Yeah. All right, guys. I think this has been a very insightful day.
Slow news day. Oh, yeah. Insightful day.
I protest, sir. Mr. Billy Business sent the email this morning and said, slow news day, I'm going to just, here we go. Slow news day, this is what we got. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about because all of that sounds like gold to me,
solid,
sir.
right?
Solid stories that we had for you today. Thanks to Mr. Billy Business and his sleuthing. Coming up next is our segment, and his new law degree is our segment, Would Billy Click It? The answer is yes to all of these things, and I think that they were very well found. I also just want to circle back to our story about Bambi really quickly and your guys' judgment around my form of punishment. And I will remind us that we love John Wick. Why do we love John Wick? Because it sets it up so perfectly in the beginning. He's mean to an animal, and 80 people need to die for it. It makes sense. It's logical. It tracks.
I'm sorry. If I saw in the news that a rogue assassin had murdered 75 people, I would be horrified. The movies and reality are not the same thing.
When you found out that he hurt a dog, though, how would you feel?
One of the 75 hurt that dog, Rob. Everyone else was just taking a gig.
You know what? I leave it between you guys and your God.
And your dog God.
I'm not saying you would kill him when you hunted him, just scare him a little bit. All right, that's it.
I think they should watch Old Yellow every day for a year.
I mean, you'd shoot him in the leg.